Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And today, my guest is Tamara Zona. And as usual, I'm in London, and she's going to tell you where she is. And of course, we're speaking about our spiritual connection, how we started, what happened in our childhood, or whatever, because all of us are going through things all over the world. And sometimes we're not sure what to do. We get confused or we feel we're alone, and you're not alone. So, without much ado, Tamara is going to share her story with us today. Tamara, welcome to my podcast, Spiritual Infinity. Before we start, where are you? Because I like people to know and to realize we're all over the world. So
We sure are. I'm in the Detroit metro area of Michigan in the United States.
Okay, and I'm here in London, so there's a time difference, of course. What's the weather like with you there?
Today it's very hot and humid, so it is getting sticky out there. We just closed all the windows and turned on the AC. It's going to be about 84 degrees and very, very humid.
It's very warm here in London, I'm telling you, and it's lovely. And when the sun shines, people's attitude changes, and it's so nice. But
it does. We're all here when the sun's shining.
So Tamara, welcome. And let's hear your journey of connecting to your spirituality, when it started, what you went through, how it affected you, and where you are today. So please go ahead.
All right. So way, way, way back, I was raised in the Catholic Church, and I can remember very, very early loving the singing, but being confused about the rest. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I didn't feel at home with what people around me were talking about or the stories. There was a disconnect for me, and it didn't make a lot of sense. And so I questioned a lot, and of course, Catholics don't like that much. And I did what I was supposed to do as a dutiful daughter, and my mom said, when you're 18, you can decide for yourself. So the minute I turned 18, I stopped going to church, and my mom was very, very sad for me. And I told her very directly, I don't need a middleman. Spirituality to me is something very personal, and I don't need someone else telling me what to think or believe. I'll feel it for myself. And so that's what I did. Plus, with my personal values and ideals, it doesn't match. It doesn't match up. And there's a lot of discord and conflicting information in the church. And it didn't feel in alignment or in integrity. And that's really where my spirituality is based, is in what feels like love.
Yes.
What's love? Yeah. So I kind of did my own thing. And in university, I studied different religions, and I felt very attracted, in fact, to Buddhism, which doesn't have the big God overseeing everything. And you really have some personal power in there. And I think I just kind of collected the bits and pieces from different spiritual practices and religions that made sense and felt like they fell into place in my being. And then, of course, you start to grow up and life happens, and I became very disconnected from my spirituality as I got married and had children and was just busy with the hands-on parts of life.
Yeah.
And then when it really started to come back to me was when I realized how unhappy in my marriage was. I was like 7 years into it. And I started feeling that need for something more, that desire, longing for a connection that I wasn't experiencing in this physical plane. And I knew there had to be something more, and I could remember feeling like it years ago, and I could remember feeling happy years ago. And what I know now is that that's our true essence, right? This peacefulness, this happiness. And when we're connected to source, or whatever you might call it, and when we're connected to self, then we feel that contentment, that joy, that ease. Yeah. So that's what I started seeking, and it led me on a beautiful, beautiful and challenging path.
How can I stop you there a moment? Because as you said, 7 years into your marriage, you realized you weren't happy and you wanted more. Did you have children at that time?
Yes, yes. We had two children at that time, very close together. So that, which is one of the reasons why I think that children really exacerbate any lacking in life,
Yeah,
right?
because you have to handle so much. Now you've got the children, now you've got the husband, you've got the home, you've got to do this. And then you I suppose you feel as though you're losing yourself, or somehow anger comes into it and you're thinking, why? And
Yes.
you start to look and say, there's got to be more than this. So what did you do from as you said, you started to look at different things, and what did you latch onto apart from Buddhism and taking bits? How did you put that together and make sense of it?
It was around that time that the book and the movie The Secret came out.
Ah,
And so I watched that, and then it seemed really surface to me, and I like to go a lot deeper.
yeah.
And it is very surface, but it's a good start. And so I got books from every teacher that was featured in The Secret. I read Jack Canfield, I read Lisa Nichols, I read Marcy Shimoff, I read Janet Atwood and Chris Atwood were a part of The Secret, but they didn't make the cut, right?
Yeah.
But I read, Michael Beckwith.
Yes.
So
Oh,
Michael Beckwith, he's amazing,
he's
right?
amazing.
So he really resonated with me. His spirituality resonated with me. His wife's voice resonated with me. I don't know if you know, but they put out an album, and it's him preaching and her singing. And I listened to that over and over and over and felt so like, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what connection to source and spirit and the universe feels like. And so that really started to open me up, and I started to become much more conscious. And I studied and I followed teachers, and I decided what I needed to help myself was to help others. And I got into life coaching, and one of the first certifications specialties that I got into was something called the Passion Test. I still teach it today, and we're 11 years on.
Okay.
And it's the Passion Test. It's by Janet Bray Atwood and Chris Atwood, who are friends of all the people named. And it's about clarifying the 5 things that matter the most to you in your life today.
Okay.
And then learning how to align your life with those 5 things so that every day becomes more joyful and fulfilling. Because we think, Zenzi, that we have to do all these have to do's, and the good stuff, the things that bring us pleasure or joy, have to wait until we're like 80 and retired.
That's
when
not
in
so.
fact, that's not so. That's not what life's supposed to be about. Life is supposed to be euphoric at times, sad at others, but
Yes.
expansive and a growth experience. And that means we experience every emotion along that path instead of avoiding or pushing it away or ignoring it. And so these were the new skills I was gathering and practicing.
I like what you just said and you're so right. It's as you travel through life, we think we just do this, we just get on with it, and that's it. And well, that's it. It's not going to happen, but it's not. We're here to actually grow spiritually. We're here to gain in our wisdom, but we're here to be happy. So I like when you said, look at the 5 things that really resonate, that will really make one happy, and then work towards creating that. And of course,
Yeah.
which was very important, as you said, there will be sadness, there will be not that there must, but this is life. You'll meet up challenges along the way, and what it is how you handle those challenges. That's what life's about, being happy.
Yeah.
Because you are co-creators, we are co-creators of our life, and therefore every minute creating the life that we want, which is happiness. And the challenge along the way of creating that, it's how we interact and how we handle that. That's our growth.
Yeah.
Not what you said
It
there.
is. It is. I like to equate life to surfing in the ocean, you know. The
Yeah.
waves are sometimes super smooth. Maybe it's even a little boring. And
Mhm.
then the weather picks up, the waves pick up, and we might get knocked off that surfboard for a time.
Yeah.
But if we've tethered ourselves
Yeah.
to the surfboard with the tools and practices
Yeah.
that help our mental well-being, then we can grab onto that board and over time climb back up and
That's
go
right.
surfing again. That's life. It's full of different varieties of experiences, and it's supposed to be. And what I found is that when we do put our attention on the things that really fill us up, that make us feel alive, and that can be our spiritual connection for so many of us,
Yeah.
that pure bliss that we can experience in a deep meditation or prayer, then we have the energy
Yes.
necessary for the have to do's, for the, you know, bludgery tasks that we don't maybe want to do. But, you know, it's a good idea to pay your
Yeah.
taxes and go to work.
And you're so right. Otherwise, and I do find this that, and I think, and I'm sure if people really stopped and thought about it, as you trudge along, sometimes you think life's a bit boring. You want a bit of excitement. And it's those ups and downs that you think, oh God, I did need this. But it's that how you handle it and get over it that creates that excitement.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how did you continue from there? What after reading all those books and then understanding, coming to that understanding, how did your life progress from there?
Yeah. So I finally, through reading those books and starting to practice and getting the education and becoming a coach and getting clear on what mattered the most to me, I built my courage muscle enough to leave that marriage finally after 15 years.
Oh,
So we'd been married
yeah.
years, and we were actually living in Hampshire at the time. We'd been there for 2 years in England, and then I brought my 3 kids at that point home to Detroit area for a visit.
Okay.
And when I got here, I came back to my family home. I was with my parents, my siblings, friends from years ago, and I thought, wow, people who love me are nice to me. People who love me act like it.
Yes.
I don't have to go back to that. I'm
Yeah.
strong enough now. I can make new decisions, and I'm far enough away that this feels safe for me. So I chose to put a pause on the marriage, and then I gave it its chances, right? I gave him his chances,
Yeah.
but he's not growth oriented. He wouldn't come with me. He's not a mentally healthy individual. And so I decided I'm staying
Yeah.
here where it feels safe, where I feel loved and supported and can really grow. And so that's what I did. And I became a practicing coach, and goodness knows it's a practice.
Yeah.
And then life led me to also add in some things that actually paid the bills and fed my kids. So I got into senior living, but I did it with alignment. So when I was looking for jobs, I was very mindful of how it felt. Like I wouldn't apply to anything that didn't light up a spark,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say yes to an interview to anything that didn't light up a spark. And what eventually did, I didn't even remember applying for it. It was for a senior living community like 5 minutes from where I was living.
Oh
And I
gosh.
went in, didn't remember what I had applied for, talked to every single manager in the place, and I ended up as a new activities person. And so I got to hang out with cool seniors and play games and take them on outings. And then I ended up doing that as a director for another senior community in independent living. And it was so much fun. But again, after some years, life said, Tamara, is this really where you belong? And
Yeah.
I kept getting those little nudges of, you know, it's time for you to go back to coaching and speaking full time. You have more work to do on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And so one day I meditated and I asked, you know, whoever I speak to on any given day, it might be source, universe, guides, ascended masters, I speak to them all. And I said, please let me know when it's time. Is it time for me to leave this job? And make it so clear. We got to be specific, right, friends? Make it so clear that I cannot miss the sign, because I will ignore it. I will choose to ignore it.
Like a lot of us.
You make right, like please make
we
it so
ignore it.
right, because we want to, it's
realize.
easier to stay in our comfort zone than take a risk and do something
Yes.
new. And so I got to my desk that day, and I was also in charge of social media for the community. And so I went onto Facebook to do a post, but the first post that I saw was an oracle card that a friend had posted, and it said, it was a picture of a door, and it said, "Here's your door. When will you walk through it?"
Oh my God. Talk about make it very clear.
That was very clear. And I said, "Okay, I see you. Thank you. Give it to me 2 more days in a row and I'll believe you."
Okay.
And I did. I don't remember what those were, but they were both very clear. And so that third day, I wrote my resignation letter. I stuck it in my desk and I said, "Okay, I'm going to wait until I know when it's right." And that day happened a few weeks later.
Okay, let me stop you there. So you said, give me 2 more days of those signs, and it actually happened. You started to see first day, second day, third day. Good for you.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. I believe we get what we ask for, and only as clear as we are, right? Just show me a sign. What does that mean? We might miss it. Show me a white feather on a path I have never seen it before. Mm-hmm. Is a specific clear sign, so we know, okay, they're talking to me.
Lovely. So you handed in your resignation, and what did you do?
Well, it happened to be the year of COVID, and I happened that year to get a very handsome tax return. And so I had a bit of a cushion to go it on my own. So I started my speaking business. I started launching for coaching. And during that time, when COVID was like just hitting the Detroit, Michigan area, it was my senior community. It was actually the very first one in Michigan to have a positive COVID case. And I was exposed. And because I was young and healthy, there wasn't enough testing here available. So it was just, well, stay at home for as long as you have symptoms. And I ended up being off work for about 3 weeks. So during that time, I did a lot of meditating, a lot of asking, a lot of contemplation and journaling. And I ended up signing up to train with Marcy Shimoff and her Happy for No Reason program, which felt like a really, the passion test is beautiful and wonderful, but it's kind of like out here. But the skills and habits of happiness are very grounded in science and research. And so that felt like a really marketable skill to me. And so I went through that training and then launched my business as a happiness trainer.
Okay.
And this is what I've been doing ever since. So for almost 4 years now, I've been speaking and coaching. I've run my first 2 retreats in the last 2 years. And now I've also expanded my business with Reiki, and I'm teaching yoga, and it's a real like full circle of helping, assisting people and myself at the same time, because the work never ends.
No.
To tune in to self with a capital S, to connect with source so that we can hear each other, and to just keep clearing that line of communication so that I'm open and following the guidance that I receive to do the work I'm here to do in the world.
Wonderful. And I want to pick up on when you say that you've done all these different things, and it is about opening it, and it doesn't matter whatever you're doing. At the end of the day, we're supposed to connect to source. These things that are other things are the tool, but you connect to source, because source is the energy, is the be all of who we are and what is all around us. Without source, there is nothing. So, and we are a creation of source, and therefore, and I said to you this before, we're spiritual beings with a physical body having a human experience. And source, the creator, mystic love, Father God, whatever name you want to call it, that one entity is within us and we are within it. And it is that that I think you found when you were younger. Although you didn't feel what you should have felt from the Catholic Church. It was that disconnection.
Right.
And what you were searching for is that reconnection to source. Because at the end of the day, all religion is supposed to do, one thing, is connect us to source. And I think in this present time we're living, we have to make our own connection so we can hear that direct energy, so we're guided all the time. And I think
Right.
this is
It's that direct connection that's
yeah,
so important, because
yes,
men love power. We know this.
yeah,
And God doesn't care. God wants us to connect, or whatever you call it, because there's 1,000 names and they all mean the same thing.
yeah.
Right?
And it is connecting each one of us so that we can listen, we can ask for those signs, we can ask for that guidance, and we must listen. And even how we react and how we live our lives is also guided by that same force. So, Tamra, you, of course, separated from your husband, you've had your children, you've started your own business. As you've traveled that journey and you've started to help people, what reaction are you getting from people? What are they finding when you've been guiding them and introducing them so that they can do their own self-connection? What have you seen from that?
I'm seeing lives change, and it's a really humbling, beautiful experience, because I think the predominant human ailment is that disconnection from self and source, because it's one and the same, as you touched on. And we have this inner critical voice that's from society, parents, culture, church, telling us we're not enough, telling us we'll never be enough. And when we start to believe that, we disconnect.
Yeah.
We disconnect from the truest, highest versions of ourselves, which is just one aspect of all that is, right?
Yes.
Because we're all one little microscopic piece
Yes,
of source
in the whole.
expressed in billions of, but we forget. And so what I find in the human experience is that I'm not enough. I don't have confidence or self-esteem, so I can't do what I want to do because I'll never get there. And so I start there with helping people to rebuild first their relationship with themselves.
Mhm.
Healing the relationship you have with yourself creates a foundation for healing any other relationship, including the one that you have with source being.
Yes.
And also to adopt, and I'll often say, like, could you try this on for a week? Try on believing, because you have lots of beliefs and you can choose to keep them or toss them. And I'm just asking for a week, you try on believing that this is a friendly universe and that every single thing that happens in your life is for you, for your highest good, for your highest growth.
Yeah.
And just believe that for a week and then come back and we'll talk. And things can shift so rapidly. And the heart opens and they start noticing that good things are happening, because now their attention is, it's for me. It's in support of me. It's a friendly universe. Okay.
Yeah.
And they open, and often I'll work with people for about a year, and their lives radically transform into one that started with suffering,
Yeah.
to one that acknowledges that life has many layers and challenges, and I can handle all of it and be joyful.
Yeah. Because what you've done, you've made them believe that they are capable, because they're coming from source, they're guided by source. Source is their energy and power, and source doesn't make things ugly. Source doesn't make mistakes. If they've become ugly, it's because we've become disconnected, and our decisions that we've made in our lives have created the ugliness unwittingly. But we have all the tools and the energy to turn that around. and to create that which we are meant to be.
Mhm. It's like cleaning up if we've got a dirty window, we look outside and we think, boy, it's really dirty outside. But really, it's our window, it's our lens, it's our perspective. So when we can clean that up, we need skills and tools. We don't learn this in school. We don't learn this in religious communities. I'm trying to teach it now. And there are a number of us out here doing that, trying to help people clear the glass, their perspective, so they can truly see what the world is about and live from this soul-centered place.
Yes.
Which is such a lovely place to be.
And you're correct. It is soul-centered. And it's when we connect, we're connecting to our higher self, and we're connecting to our soul, which is source. And from that, we can make the decisions and live the life we're meant to be. So you have been working with people, you have been seeing those changes and reconnection. In doing so, what do you, is there, I know it's probably a difficult question, is there whilst we've been working, is there a general thread that you can see and could help our viewers and listeners that people are probably making or find it difficult to change?
Yeah, the thing that I notice is that because life can feel hard and we get this disconnected, we start to avoid a lot of things, especially our own feelings, our own thoughts. And so it takes some courage, but the thread, the piece that brings it all together is that we start to pay attention to what we're saying to ourselves in our heads and then out loud also, like, because our language tells us so much about what we believe, but most of us aren't paying attention. So I'm really quite nitpicky about people's language when they're working with me, and I'll ask them, they'll say, I always, or I never, or this is just the way it is. And I'll ask them just to loosen that up a little bit. Could you say, it used to be this way?
Yeah.
Right? Every moment until right now, that was my experience, but we put it into the past tense to create room for change. Because if we're committed to always and never, there's no room for change. It's always or never.
Yeah.
But what if we could just soften it and say, sometimes or maybe, and we take baby steps. So the human mind wants a giant leap into better than ever. From worse than ever to better ever. Let me lose my 100 pounds in a month and not have to do any work. Let me be confident and unstoppable in 30 days or less. But that's not true. We have a lot of deprogramming and unraveling to do. Because we're all tangled up and it's blocking that connection, right? We've got so many mind webs, and it takes time to clear away the dirt and debris of society and cultural programming. And so it requires patience and courage and a day-by-day practice of simply first noticing, how am I speaking to myself without even trying to change anything, just noticing. And then next week, you could maybe catch yourself when you're using those words always and never, and instead change it to past tense. And then the third week, you could open to, well, what do I actually want? And this is where the passion test comes in handy, because if we don't know what we want, how can we create it in our lives?
Exactly. And sometimes when I find when you're working with people, they don't know they have a vague idea, but they really don't understand and realize, and I think they fear that they can't have it. And so it's taking those steps bit by bit and changing and giving them the confidence that they can have anything they want. And it's a question of deprogramming, changing, cleaning, clearing, step by step, like a baby step, until they get a bit stronger. Then they can do a bit more, then they do a bit more, and before you know it, it's you're on your way. I can't say it's done because it's a continual program. It never stops. It never
Nope,
stops.
this is the work. I had one client ask me, she was like, well, Tamara, okay, but when am I going to be happy? Like, when can I finish practicing all these tools you're giving me? And I said, I've been doing this work for almost 14 years. I do it at least 5 or 6 days a week. I might give myself a day off to wallow or Netflix and chill or just be sad or whatever. That's also part of the work. But then I'm right back to it. I'm on my yoga mat. I'm on my meditation pillow. I'm journaling. I'm checking my language. I'm asking a friend to reflect to me. Am I being real with myself here, or am I missing something?
Yes,
Like, it's a day practice, right?
yes,
And I need to know, like, we don't see our own blind spots. So it's really important also to have a coach or a community or a best friend my best friend happens to be a psychologist, and that's very useful. To go, ooh, like, I'm seeing something you're not. Are you open to hearing it? And that's why I think that coaches are so important for people more than a therapist. I love my therapists. But therapists tend to look back and maybe give you one tool. But a coach, like I am, is going to say, okay, I don't need to know so much of what was, because I can see who you are. So I can gather enough information of
yes,
how you're working and what system you're currently running from, and
yes,
see what tools we need to implement first. And then we build a base to change language, to open the mind, to unravel from our thinking that isn't serving us, and open little by little, day by day, to newer thinking and that deeper connection. But we're blocked from spirit by our human mind and all those, problems that we're creating, because we're creating everything, whether we know it or not. And then we get clear on,
because we are,
I am actually responsible for everything I see, which means I can change it.
yes.
Yeah.
And as you say, and bringing out what we see, what we do, we're creating because we are creators. We are,
Yeah.
and I say co-creators, because God, the creator, has the biggest influence. So whilst we will do this, if it's not, and especially if we're asking source all the time, guide me, help me, show me, and we are making decisions, but if the decisions are going to lead us somewhere, the creator sees all, and you are holding on to that for guidance. We'll say, well, you're asking for this, but no, it's to this side. And this is why
Right?
we're co-creators.
Exactly. Like, sometimes we're in the driver's seat. There's a formula in the passion test. It's intention. So you state what you want. Attention, you take action, hopefully inspired action,
Yes,
to do everything you can to bring that state or create that experience. And then you let go, because that's where synchronicity occurs. That's where you go, okay, I'm only human. I can
yeah,
only do so much, but source is limitless and can
yes,
go, here you go.
yes,
Here, this is for you. Try this, try that. And if we're open to the unexpected, if we're open to, well, this doesn't look like I thought it should, but it feels like an opening, an opportunity, because I'm connected now and I can feel when there's expansion.
yes,
I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to go for it. And who knows, but if we're guided, if we allow ourselves to really practice and tap in, and honestly, it does take some experience with it, right? I'm a Capricorn. I don't trust easily, but the universe has yes enough times, and I've seen the results, that now it's much more easy for me to go, well, I don't get it, but okay.
yes,
I'm gonna go in the direction pointing, because you haven't led me astray so far, and everything always works out. Everything always expands me when I say yes to it. So
yes,
I trust you now. But it did take time to build that relationship too.
yes, it does. And it's developing that gut, or we say it's that gut feeling which
Yeah.
is connected to your higher self. And you're so right. There are times you look at this thing and say, that don't sound right. But because you've developed that relationship through whatever means, you trust, and you say, well, God, you're up there, you see everything. I'm down here in the valley, I ain't seen nothing. So let me go where you're leading me to. And it always works
Yeah.
out. It works
Yes.
out for
Yes. Even when it feels like it isn't in the moment, it
yes,
always works out in the end. We got to keep going, trusting and knowing that it will reveal itself to us eventually.
that is it. Having the trust and keep going. And the most important thing is the patience to build that relationship. And that's part of the
Yes.
cleaning, the language, the thought,
Yeah.
the change. We've got to do the work, the change. And in so doing, we are building, we are still cleaning that cord, that connection, so we can see. And even when we can't see, but we can feel. Our senses is part of that connection.
Right. And that's why it's so important that we lean into all feelings. Like instead of trying to avoid anger or fear or sadness, lean
Yeah.
into those too, because they're messengers. They're just messengers. They're just feedback. But if we ignore those, then we also ignore those.
Yeah.
And we also don't have access to the really juicy, good stuff that we want more of. So it's vital that we embrace this human experience and allow us to feel, oh, I have this pinch in my side. I wonder what this is telling me. Maybe it's just that you need to stop running and slow down a little. And right, it's there for you too. That God, source, spirit communicates to us in the wildest ways. And the more that we tune in and practice listening and hearing how we interpret those signs, the easier it gets, the easier it gets. You've been doing this for ages. I've been doing this for like 15 years now, really tuning into myself and going, wait, what do I hear? What do I feel? What is this? And that's why it's vital to create, even if it's 2 minutes a day. I don't think people need to sit for an hour. Sit
No.
for 2 minutes a day and be with yourself and notice.
And also, I say this to people. We can spend time 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but those 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you're continually doing it, what happens over time? You no longer allocate 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You start to do it all the time.
Yes, you live it.
You live it, because that is the road we are supposed to get to, actually living
Oh,
it.
yes.
It means getting up in the morning and saying, morning, God, morning, spiritual friends, morning, heavenly hope, whatever, and being grateful, and then saying, what am I going to have for breakfast today? And when I say, what am I going to, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to God, my host, whatever. I have that communication, and then I'll sit down with my water, whatever, and I'm thinking, but I'm still communicating, although I might not be talking, but it's in my mind. And then I think, what should I do? And any little thing, even you go out and you're doing some shopping and you think, I really need it. And it will guide you, even things you shouldn't be doing, or I did a thing once where I found I needed to save, and I'm always, when you go out to these shops and you see bargains and you're buying it, and you end up buying what you don't really need. And one day I said to my spirit friends, listen, this nonsense has got to stop. I said, look, you got to help me. When I go to the shop, if I don't need it, don't let me buy it. And do you know what happens, Tamara? I would walk in the shop, I'll see something, and I thought, that's fine, right? Don't need it. And I found that was happening. And when you ask for that help, you get it. You've got to really want it. Not like, oh, could you just do it? No, it's got to be mindful. Help me. This is nonsense. And it's that continual communication with source, with your higher self, and you connect and you make that connect. They're your unseen friends, guides, who will never leave you. I don't know if you found
right. Completely. It's like there's consistent guidance, and it might not be a clear voice. It just might be annoying, or you like, I'll even feel my body turn in a certain direction. Why am I going in here?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to show me? And I love that you brought up the breakfast, because
Yes.
I too will be like, okay, what is my body asking for?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So much so.
Yeah. And it asks for things I don't like. My brain doesn't want. My brain wants to just have a granola bar and a cup of coffee and get out the door. My body says no. Like, get the actual granola from the bag, throw some yogurt in there, a little oat milk, maybe some fresh strawberries. Let's do
Yes.
this.
I got that recently. You need to eat more fruit. You need to eat more fruit. You need to eat more fruit. While I love fruit, I'm not, unless it's really hot, you know what I mean? But it's telling me you need to eat more fruit. And before I came on, I had a bowl with a melon, pineapple fresh that I had there, and some strawberries, and I put some flaxseed, ground flaxseed, and I had some goat yogurt. I put it on top, and I had some bee pollen, and I put that on top, and it made up this bowl. It's just a few of this, a few of that, and I just sat there eating that, and I thought, oh, you're happy now, isn't it? Now I'm doing what you're telling me.
Well, and it makes a difference too.
Yeah.
Like, what we're putting in our body, what we're putting in our mind definitely impacts our connection to source. Because if I'm filling it up with Fruit Loops, that's not really a high vibrational food. Or if I'm watching like the news constantly, or reading scary books, or, my guilty pleasure is a good serial killer podcast, but I keep it so limited, because if I'm putting stuff in my brain, then I can't hear what source has to say to me, because it's all filled up with other people's voices. So we've got to create space. If we don't have to, nobody has to, but if you want that connection, and I think most of us, when we are willing to get quiet, feel that desire to have that connection, to be one with source and each other, then we've got to watch what we eat, what we drink, what we watch, what we read. All of it impacts our ability to
connect, because our bodies are the wireless, so to speak, and everything else is what is there, because our spirit is not in our bodies is in our spirit. So it's to keep that clean, so that connection. Start turning on a TV. If it's like, you can't see the TV clearly. You need a clear connection of waves of energy to bring the picture, and that's how we work. And when you have that, you listen, spirit will guide you, the creator will guide you, and those heavenly forces and your higher self and angels around will guide you, and that's the beauty of it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it feels really good when you can really sense it and know that they're there with you always. Know that they've got your back. Like, we're never alone, ever.
Never.
We're never alone.
Never.
And to lean into that, knowing even when we feel alone, wait a second, I remember. And that's ultimately what I think many of us are doing. In the late 30s, 40s, 50s, is we're remembering who we are at our core.
Yes.
And then creating the space needed to be who we truly are.
And as you say, at our core, remembering who we are at our core. So, Tamara, how can people connect with you if they need to do one-to-one with you, or are you doing retreats where you are in America? Anybody listening will want to do that. Have you written any books? How can people get more to hear about and have more of your guidance and help?
Thank you. They can visit my website, which the easiest version is tamarazoner.com. It will come up as alifeyoulovenow.com. And that's where you'll find everything. You can sign up for my newsletter, which is fairly sporadic, but it will be coming up soon. I do work with people in groups, in one-on-one, in person and online. So if anybody listening happens to be local to the Detroit metro area, I do a once a month meetup called Create a Life You Love Now. And we talk about what matters. And it's a super low commitment. It's $10 to come and sit in a group of people like us who are opening to their own higher wisdom, to living life more consciously and more aware, and outgrowing the other people who still live in the state of avoidance and sleepwalking. So to have authentic conversations, that's the local in-person group. And then I will be launching in September my Radiant Happiness Rebirthed 9-month program, where we start skill building. So it's a return to self, like that authentic spark in your heart. You'll get back there if you've lost it. And everything can be found through my website. And then I play a lot on Instagram and for now Facebook. So Daily Wisdom, a private group on Facebook, with just a little guidance and a little love. And I like to joke, although I think it's real, that at least 98% of the people who spend time with me feel better. So the more time you spend with me, the better you will feel. And I'll teach you some skills that you can take with you along the way.
Because it's not just about, as you said, feeling good, but it's getting those skills so that you build on them, so that feeling good is strengthening who we are, so that we can face the challenges that we will find in our life. And a lot of it is fear, and it's overcoming the fear. So Tamara,
yes.
Before we say goodbye, can you give us, I say one thing, but some of my guests say, no, I've got more than one thing, little gold nuggets you can leave us with to help our viewers and our listeners that they can use, or something that they can think about to help them overcome the situations in their life?
Yeah, one thing I want people to know is that you are worth your own effort. You are worth your own effort. And that's the nutshell. But if we're expecting other people to do our work for us, to make us feel better, more loved, that's not the path. The path is you make the effort because you are worth it.
I'm writing that there because I think that is so important. You are worth your own effort. You have to put the work in, and the more you put in, and the more you will get out of it. The more we do, and we start to believe and understand and live that, what we give out is what we get back. And it's like a ripple effect.
Yes.
It's a rippling
effect. It is.
Yeah. So Tamara Zona, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank all my viewers and visitors for being on this podcast. Until we meet again next time, take care, enjoy a sunny weather, look after yourself, and remember, you are never ever alone. So for now, bye bye.